What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, when we bring you Splinterland's content daily. We also stream over on Twitch at This Is Aftersound. So come by, say hello. We do giveaways every week, and we do giveaways every stream. All you got to do is leave your in-game username in the comments, and I will send you some DEC when I pick out my favorite ones on the weekly Q&A videos. Okay, let's go ahead and continue the series here. Started with neutral and now fire. This is my favorite Chaos Legion cards by Splinter. So we are today focusing on Death. Now, I'll be honest with you. Death is not a Splinter I normally used to play with. I really didn't enjoy them. I rented a Mimosa for some time, or I was delegated a Mimosa, and then I rented a Mimosa, the legendary Untamed Summoner, for some time. Fell absolutely in love with her, and obviously it was just too expensive for me to maintain. But outside of that, didn't really play Death very often. Enter in Chaos Legion, and wow, are they fun! I am a huge fan of Thaddeus Brood. I'm a huge fan of everything, a lot of the ways and synergies of these monsters, and even just playing within the Chaos Legion set. It's been a lot of fun. So let's go ahead. We're gonna get started. There's gonna be a decent amount of cards that I like here, but I will try to keep it to a minimum so that you know exactly which ones maybe that you should be focusing on, or at least have on your radar. So let's start from the bottom with the common cards. Now, right here, we'll start on the right side. Silent Javi, one of my favorite Chaos Legion cards, maybe overall. This dude at maxed out level for silver. And again, I'm playing, just a reminder, I'm playing in silver. So a maxed out version of him would actually be at level 5 because he is a common card. Excuse me. And for 5 mana, you're getting somebody with 5 speed that attacks the back line for 3 damage. Oh, not to mention they also have 6 health. So he is like Tenyi Striker on steroids. I love it. Now he doesn't get the buff that, Tenyi gets from Tarsa, but I believe at this speed he's faster. Let me go ahead. I just want to make sure that I am looking at these the right way. Where's Tenyi? So Tenyi maxed out here is only a speed of 3. Now Tenyi does get dodge, but let's go ahead and just focus back on here. I still like Silent Javi for, again, many, many other reasons. Looking ahead to higher levels, right? So if you're playing gold, then you would go up to level 8 is where you would max out for gold. And he does get cripple, which means every time he hits a monster, they lose 1 of their max health. So again, up to speed of 6, 3 damage, 7 health with cripple is pretty nice. Obviously, at the highest levels, you get pierce too, which can actually be quite valuable on the back line. So really, really one of my favorite cards within the Death deck. Crypt Beetle is okay. So I don't have them maxed out fully yet to level 5. It looks like they do get a second damage here at level 5. I don't use them often because whenever I can. So again, to me, he's a tank that's suitable for Little League games, right? And whenever I can, or whenever I need one, I usually defer to the, what is that called? Zenith Monk, which is the neutral 4 mana summoner that has self-heal. He does have shield and, can get to a pretty decent HP and armor overall. So I'm sure there would be some situations in which he'll come in handy, but at level 1 and even at level 5, I just don't use him much. Shadow Snitch is another similar one. 4 mana isn't bad, and I would say that if I played more Little League games, he might be someone that I would put in as a secondary tank. But there's also a lot that you can do within the Death deck from a magic and range perspective that, unless I absolutely have to use him, I feel like there are better options, and I'm going to go over those. We'll just go over to Carrion Shade. I rarely, if ever, use Carrion Shade. For 1 mana, sometimes you just need a back tank or a front tank. And at this level, with this amount of mana, now I would be able to get him to level 5, so he would have a speed of 3. Again, when it comes down to it, I prefer the neutral card of Chaos Agent, which I don't even have this at level 5, but he can't attack. But if I'm just using him as kind of like a meat shield and as a tank, that dodge ability to me is much more valuable. Granted, Carrion Shade does have flying, so if it is like a non-neutral game, then maybe it'll come in. But again, I don't actively seek to use him. Now, there's been a lot of talk about Riftwing. I heard somebody ask on Dwayne Cunningham's channel, and after having played with him myself, I get the hype. It's a decent meat shield. It's 4 mana, which is probably a little bit more than I would like to pay in terms of mana cost. Now, if you have him at level 1, so let's just go back to level 1 here. It's nice to have Scavenge, don't get me wrong. Speed of 3 is okay, and obviously flying is great. You get him up to level 5, which is what you can play in Silver, and all of a sudden you have somebody who is not just a defensive monster, but can actually do some damage. So with a speed of 4, with flying, and with the ability to gain health when other monsters die, it makes him a decent either back tank or front tank, or even a snipe tank as well, or snipe target, because backfire, if they miss an attack, will do 2 damage back to them. Now this gets very interesting. Up at gold level, you get Headwinds, and I think this could be incredibly valuable. This ability reduces all enemy ranged attacks by -1. So this to me is very, very valuable. You pair him up with the Chaos Legion reward card of Heartclaw, who at the gold level has Demoralize, and you pair him up with Thaddeus Brood, the summoner, and all of a sudden you're doing -1 across the board in terms of all 3 attacks for the opponent, also giving them -1 health. So that is really one of the most interesting cards here. Again, I'm not playing at gold level, but I'm very much excited to hopefully get up to gold level at some point within the next couple of weeks or months. So that's a card I think that could be very valuable at those levels. Again, 4 mana is a little more than I would like to spend, but could still come in very clutch. Okay, so let's go on to the rare cards now. Thaddeus Brood, obviously I've covered him before when I did the Summoner breakdown, but I have to say that I am enjoying playing with him more than I thought I would. I end up playing Death a lot more, just because of the fact that even though I'm not a fan of debuffs, right? And when I say debuffs, I mean things that are like -1 to an opponent rather than like a +1 to you, because then you're in full control. Like, the best example is if I play him and I play an all melee deck or an all range deck, this is essentially negated. It doesn't do anything, right? Whereas if I were to play General Sloan or Obsidian, I know and I can play complementary monsters with that. So this, you're kind of taking your best guess at what the opponent's going to do. So I wasn't as big of a fan of it in the beginning. The only reason that I was hot on Thaddeus Brood was because I was also hot on Obsidian, and knowing that there was a potential counter, right? So a Bortus to an Ulrich, essentially, from the older format, people who were here just a couple of weeks ago, was valuable. And I thought that would be, something that would be good to have. What I'm finding that I enjoy with Thaddeus Brood, though, is the -1 health, because I'll get to it shortly. There is some snipe magic damage that comes in very handy. We had this first with the Death Elemental, but there's also an epic card here, Magi Necrosi, which I'm going to jump into later. Let's go ahead and do the rest of the rare cards, and starting with Cursed Windeku. Now, I don't even have a fully maxed out for Silver Cursed Windeku. That would be level 4. But even if we look at this dude at level 1, decent meat shield for 6 mana. It's got 9 health, a decent speed at a speed of 3, can do 2 damage, and has thorns. If you guys don't know how dominant Mylar has been for most of Bronze, at least during the time that I've been here, having thorns is clutch. Now, Death generally doesn't have any tank healers, but he does get at level 5, so this would be at gold level, he does get an extra ability, which is to self-heal. So this is definitely a card I want to be able to play with at gold, and with gold abilities. And I believe golds, you can go all the way up to level 6, I think, for rare cards. And then maxed out, he gets that one more ability. He gets a higher attack, so 4 damage, 3 speed, 11 health, and obviously he has thorns, heal, and then gets slow. So all of a sudden he's affecting the other team in a game where speed is really key. So another one of my favorite cards here. Dampier Stalker, I really want to like him more than I do. For 7 mana, 3 damage, that is always going to hit, is not bad. At level 1, he's a little bit slower, doesn't have as high HP. At level 4, which is the max for silver, he can do 4 damage. So I don't believe I have a level 4 at this moment, but I think the mana to damage ratio will be much more significant for me at level 4. So hopefully I can get there soon. And then obviously when he gets to the higher levels and you're playing him in gold, he gets Death Blow, which can be super clutch. I mean, then he's doing 8 damage per turn, which I think, obviously can make a difference. But I've just noticed with the rule sets that I've been playing with in silver, and I guess even like gold 3 to a certain extent, I haven't been playing with him as much as I thought I would. Maybe once I play more in gold and have him actually leveled up with Death Blow and with 4 damage, it'll make more sense. For Life Sapper, I actually don't play this guy very much either. Now, I do have a Venari Bonesmith as well, who has the same ability, is 1 mana more, right? So Venari Bonesmith is the Chaos Legion rewards card. So, excuse me, is the Chaos Legion rewards card and has poison available, I believe, at level 4. So there's just a little bit more versatility there. And I believe, I think they're the same speed, but they both have the same ability of Life Leech. Now, I need to get my card up to level 4 so that I have it maxed out for a silver level deck, because obviously at level 4, he gets 2 speeds. 2 damage. And then looking ahead, nothing really changes in gold. He gets a little bit faster. Is there no change? Oh, so he gets 1 more health from level 4 to level 5, and then gets 1 more speed, and then finally, fully maxed out, gets redemption, which I don't have any monsters that are at this level yet where I've been using it, but it's been using against me, and it's really annoying. So just whenever he dies, whenever this monster dies, it does 1 damage to all enemy monsters. So that actually could be kind of clutch. You're doing up to 6 additional damage from 1 card, which could be cool. But again, I'm not using him much, so not one of my favorites. Now, Soul Strangler is one that I feel like I should be using a lot more. Now, at level 1, not bad, right? Only 2 health isn't going to be the kind of meat shield or defense that you want, and speed of 2 isn't great either. But you are getting 2 damage for 3 mana, and it is ranged, but he's slow, and in a game of speed, I hate missing. It sucks. So when you get into level 2, which is, maxed out for bronze, he does get that extra speed. Now, in silver, though, that's where things change for me. In silver, if you max him out to level 4, he does get a speed of 3 and an additional attack at level 3. Right? So his health doesn't really go up, but now I'm getting 3 damage for 3 mana with a decent speed here, right? So there have definitely been rule sets where he has come into play for me. I like using him for specific things, but he's not usually my go-to. And then when you look further ahead, I think this is where it gets really valuable, but as soon as you're playing in gold, or not as soon as you're playing gold, but in gold, if you're maxed out for gold at level 6, now he's doing 4 damage for 3 mana, which is really nice. He never gets faster than the speed of 3, and I think where he could be super clutch is obviously maxed out. He gets poison. So, yeah, I like where this card is going. I'm not using it as much right now, but I do like where it is going, and the damage to mana ratio from the get-go is decent. Okay, let's move on to the rare cards. I will start here with Weirding Warrior. So for epic cards, you can max them out to level 3 for silver. So I have not gotten to that yet. I'm still playing with a level 2. It seems like I'm a couple BCX short. So as soon as I have that, I think I'm just 1 BCX short, actually. So once I have that 1 BCX, then I'll probably take these off the rental market and level my guy up, because I do have the summoner that can play him. Now at level 2, at level 3, he gets an additional damage. And at level 4, again, this is going to be for gold, is where he is the Death Amplify monster. So right now, in bronze, in silver, am I playing with him? Actually, never. Like, very, very rarely. I haven't found a good use for the Shatter ability, which is it destroys the target's armor. Maybe that's something that I'm just not really attuned to right now, but I just haven't used it as any part of my strategies. Will this become more interesting once I get Amplify? Probably, but I'm not there yet, so I can't really speak to it. But it is one of the monsters that I do want to level up along with the summoner that can play him. And so, obviously looking at the other cards here, you have Backfire, you have Thorns. There's no Return Fire here, so I guess there's not that. But Amplify could be very, very clutch in that instance, but that again is going to be an ability for gold. Insidious Warlock, just not a fan. At level 1, you're going to get this guy who does 3 damage every other turn. It's magic damage. He can, he's not that fast. The rechargeability I'm not sold on, and I'm just not playing with it. Even at level 3, right, he gets 2 damage, meaning he does 6 every other turn. And to me, that could be valuable, but I would rather have a monster do 3 damage each turn than a monster that does 6 damage every other turn. That's just my personal preference. I haven't found a way to rationalize or implement the recharge ability strategy yet. All right, probably my favorites, or at least in my top 2 for Magi Necrosi. I know I keep saying I have favorite cards here, but I really do enjoy playing Death now. This guy, right, at level 1, not bad. You get, for 6 mana, you're going to get a very fast, at least right off the bat, 4 speed, 2 snipe magic damage. This becomes very clutch because keep in mind, the person, or the summoner that I'm playing him with is Thaddeus Brood, who does -1 health. So there have been many times when there is somebody in the back line that will have a health of 3, right, or 4, whatever it is, and that -1 ends up being something where I can kill them on the first turn because he goes fast, he sneaks under armor, and he goes straight after the back line. So probably one of my favorite cards, and one that I use probably the most often within here, because not to mention the other ability that he has is Camouflage, right? And he gets both of these off the bat. So if he's in the back line, nobody will see him until he's up front. So that Camouflage ability is super, super awesome. Now, I have him maxed out for silver at level 3, where he gets an additional magic damage. And again, this is what I'm talking about. If there is an opponent with a backline snipe available candidate who has a health of 3 or now 4, they get reduced by 1, and all of a sudden I'm knocking them out, usually within the first turn of the game, and sometimes before they can even do anything. So really, really one of my probably most used cards, and one of my favorite cards for Death. Now moving on to the Legendaries. Corpse Fiend is fine. We don't really have to talk much about him. I think if you're able to play him at the highest levels and get, a maxed out one, Silence is huge, because now you could be doing -2 magic if you pair him up with Thaddeus Brood. So that could be very, very clutch, especially if you know that you're going to be facing a magic heavy team. Jinwei Rat, on the other hand, I like him a lot, right? Now, do I play with him as often as I would like? No, and there's several reasons. He has a very high mana cost, in my opinion. He actually doesn't do that much damage. Now, I have him at level 2, but going back to level 1, which is, eligible for bronze, going back to level 1, he's got 4 armor and 7 health. Now, he does have Void Armor, which to me is the closest we will get to any kind of tank heal ability for Death, right? Because this is why Scable Hireling is so popular. At least I am a big fan of Scable Hireling, is because I can throw Scable Hireling into a deck with Jinwei Rat, and if the other team is doing all magic damage, I have somebody that can repair that shield and essentially act as a, as a healer for a Death team, which, as a tank healer for a Death team, which I don't believe we've seen in any cards ever for Death. I don't think that's just something, within the lore that Death does. At level 2, I get him here. He gets Giant Killer and 1 extra health. So again, Giant Killer's great, but I'm only doing 4 damage, and most of the cards with, Giant Killer or, 10 mana and up, they're going to have a decent amount of health. So 4 damage is great, but it's not amazing. Now, where this gets very, very exciting to me is in the future. In gold, you can play him with an additional magic damage. So now he's doing 3 magic damage per turn, as well as 6 with Giant Killer. And now not only does he have Void Armor, but he gets an additional ability with Magic Reflect, right? So now he's not only able to repair the armor from that damage, he's also reflecting some of that back, right? And then able to repair the armor with obviously a support monster. And then finally, you do get Force Field at the end. So to me, a 5 ability monster is absolutely massive, or can be absolutely massive. So I don't know. This is a card that I like. I'm just not using as much as I would like to, and maybe once I get into gold or who knows, maybe even diamond in the future, where the rule sets have way higher mana caps. Yeah, I mean it might make sense, and he'll come in more handy there. But even now at level 2, I do play him more frequently than I probably should be, just because I like throwing him in there, just because throwing him in with Scavo Hireling makes me feel like I have a self-healer for death. So that is the entire Chaos Legion death set. Hopefully that was helpful for you guys. Actually, I want to go back to Carrion Shade. All right, he doesn't get any of the abilities. I think that was the only one I didn't check. And Shadow Snitch. Okay, so Shadow Snitch here, and I hadn't even looked this far out. In gold does get Affliction, which I think could be valuable. But again, I'm not playing with it now, and does get Dodge at a later point. Was there anyone else? Crypt Beetle? No, Crypt Beetle just has Shield. So yeah, we're gonna leave it there. I'm a big fan of the death cards in the Chaos Legion expansion overall. So hopefully, like I said, this was helpful for you guys, or at least entertaining to go through it. So thank you for sitting around with me. If you're finding this valuable, please consider liking and subscribing. It's a free and easy way to support the channel, and just know that I appreciate you all so much. I will go ahead and end the video here. So have an awesome rest of your day. I will be back, and I will see you in the next video, and hopefully with the next Splinter that I am focusing on. Take care.